The pilgrims of four overhear whispers from the gathered acolytes.
Dwarf, elven hunter, stoned gnome, and one who knows too much. But one of them is broken. Fix it or kill it. I don't know if it can be fixed.
A moon elf priestess approaches the pilgrims and says,
We have something here for you. We've kept vigil over it for many generations. If you are the heroes of four, you should already have the key to open it.
Cator's eyes widen in fear. He had been carrying many keys, as had Jack, before Perrin stole a bag of holding, before the forest creatures stole the other bag of holding, before Jack got turned into a naked demon. He scours his memory frantically, trying to remember which key. He lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding.
It wasn't in my bag of holding. It wasn't in Jack's bag of holding, but it's not in my backpack, so it must have been in Jack's.
Scrape, tick, 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 scrape, tick, tick, tick. The pilgrims turn around to see where the sound is coming from. On the steps leading up to the cathedral is a dinner plate-sized spider, bleeding profusely and with only 7 legs, missing most of its hair, and dragging a key along the steps. Everyone rushes to help Thoraxia, and she is showered with warmth and healing from all sides. More acolytes bring out a rusty old chest onto the doorsteps of the cathedral. Nyx uses the key to open it and carefully takes out the contents. A tall obsidian staff, a short wooden staff, a pair of cestus knuckles with a beer stein logo, a rapier with a red bow tie, a composite bow, an obsidian longsword, a glowing sprig of holly, a warhammer imprinted with a skull throne symbol, and a scroll. One for each of the pilgrims, including Lorgar and Bjorn.
We were told there was something in the basement of this place,
Says Elsa bluntly.
Yes, it is where the Red Plague, as you call it, comes from, all of it.
Says the priestess. Within the temple of Lolth, Palanfir is not feeling like himself. His anger and ruthlessness are exaggerated, and he remembers mercy, but cannot feel it. He prays to Lolth for guidance, and a Drider skitters up to him.
We can cure you, child, but there is a price to be paid.
Sure, any amount of gold to save my ear.
The Drider chuckles.
Not gold. You must pay with service to the Elder God.
I already serve many war gods. Let's get this done and add another to my list.
So eager, I appreciate that.
The Drider says, leaning in closer.
You must be baptized to become a servant of the Elder God. We have the facilities here.
Great, let's get to it.
Hold on, we have this bathtub for baptisms, but you must supply the blood.
Sure thing. But I have to make this quick. The infection doesn't give me a lot of time.
The Drider smiles.
Yes, of course. You don't need to travel far. You only need 5 humanoids worth of blood to fill up the bath. For the baptism to work, it must be 5 that you know personally. You can manage that, can't you?
Yes, it won't take more than a few moments.
Says Palanfir as he stands up and walks back towards the pilgrims.
Rejoice. You will become one of the children of the Elder Light.
Says the Drider as Palanfir walks away. Cornelius tries to explain the various drow gods to the others, but they don't fully understand.
The Pale Knight is the mother of demons and fiends, and she is a friend of Lolth.
Palanfir walks towards the group in somewhat of a daze and says,
I need 5 drops of blood.
They have a cure in the Temple of Lolth?
Asks Cornelius, skeptical.
Yeah, just 5 drops, enough to fill a bathtub, and then I'll become a servant of the Elder God and he'll cure me.
Did you know they plan to bleed your friends dry?
Asks an acolyte.
Did you know you have beautiful eyes?
Replies Palanfir.
They won't cure you. They lied.
Says the acolyte. As if waking from a coma, Jack announces.
I'm a fiend now, so I can punch shit now.
Everyone pauses their conversation and stares at the partially red, infected, naked demon with a human voice. Nyx sees him flopping in the wind at gnome eye level and grabs a rag to try to cover up the demon genitals. An acolyte breaks the silence.
The only one we know powerful enough to cure the infection is too far away to save your friends. Your best hope is to go below and try to cut off the source of the plague.
The acolytes use a special ritual to seal off the pilgrims in a room and allow them to sleep and mentally prepare without allowing the infection to spread. Time appears to flow differently within the boundary of the spell, and the heroes are grateful for the assistance. As Cornelius unpacks his bedroll, he sees a hastily scrawled note tied to his pack. One way to remove the cursed belt is to have the host perform a miracle, like saving the world. It would show the demon that this is not a suitable host. Signed, the librarian. Nyx woke up early and pooped in the corner of the room. When the others awoke, they noticed the acolytes were gone and piles of dust remained. A scroll had been left explaining that something went wrong with the experimental spell. It had required the life essence of all the acolytes to maintain it. The pilgrims each looked around and saw their hair slightly grayer than it had been, except one long green strand on Nix's head. Nix plucked the strand and examined it while the others got their bearings. With no time to lose, they rushed toward the main cathedral area and past the pews towards the staircase leading down. A short drow named Father Nicodemus spoke as they walked past.
Don't worry, Jack. The way is open.
Elsa seized the man by his shirt and asked,
If you know who we are, why aren't you trying to stop us?
No need. Your reputation precedes you. You'll succumb to infighting or burn down another tavern, then get killed below.
Elsa released her grip.
That's a low blow.
She said, devastated and ashamed. Some of the pilgrims stumbled on the wet staircase, but they marched onward, through the winding and twisting corridors, past door after door, searching for another staircase that would lead lower. Cornelius provided Cator with a scribe's kit so he could map the area as they went. It wasn't as neat as his lost cartographer's kit, but they managed. When they got to a dead end, they carefully listened at the door, checked it for traps, unlocked it, and went inside. They found a bunk room set up for 26 people, abandoned and left to rot for more than 6 months, judging by the moths. Carefully noting the symbols of Lolth, the drow war god associated with spiders, the group determined there was no hidden bunker door or staircase. They retreated back to the most recent door and tried to unlock it, but a guillotine blade fell down and chopped off Cornelius's hand. Acting quickly, Cator and Nix reattached the hand and healed the scholar of most of the blood loss. His newly reattached hand felt numb, but he could move it, and got the sense that it would heal over time. Beyond the guillotine and the locked door was a kitchen.
Why would they trap the kitchen door unless someone was stealing cookies?
Asked Elsa, just before she saw across the room 2 skeletons hanging from chains on the walls. With closer inspection, the pilgrims could see cut marks on the bones, as if the flesh had been stripped from them and cooked in this kitchen. On the far side of the kitchen, 2 doors stood, one easily opened, revealing the stench of old and fresh urine mixing together. The adventurers quickly and quietly closed that door and opened the other, which led them through more twisting hallways until they heard a click and the floor gave way under them. They slid into a wall of spikes, most getting scratched but not run through by the long silver points. Palanfear slips and slides, launching himself into Jack. Was he trying to spare the others the red infection? Cator, unable to completely avoid the spikes, used his shield to deflect himself in between the deadly points. He was safe, but his shield was shattered in the effort. Rubbing his wrist and shaking off the wood chips and bits of leather that had once been a handle,
That was the last thing I had from my home village.
he said somberly.
I was going to say boo, but that's actually sad. Is it still around, your home?
Asked Jack.
They might still be there. Ola Kem is in the forest near the Frog Temple and Four Corners.
Once they climb out of the pit, they find a staircase leading to the lower level. They go through an open portcullis and find a room filled with traps. Nix crawls along the floor and sees an opening leading down to lava. The gnome freaks out but doesn't fall. In the flailing, he finds a lockbox that is leaking grey liquid. The others smell ozone coming from that direction and tell Nix to slide the chest back across the floor. Cornelius and Cator open the box and find a couple shattered potions and a large pile of coins and gems. Cator takes the one intact potion and wraps it in a bandana. Then he tilts the lockbox to drain out a bit of liquid before closing it again and shoving it in his backpack. Jack sees a stone doorway on the other side of the room and tries to open it. The door moves but gets jammed in the doorframe. Enraged, Jack asks permission to smash the doorway. Everyone looks to each other and agrees to indulge him in his entertainment. His tail swings happily as he grunts and exhales with each swing of his mace. The sound of metal on stone echoes through the hallways, and the others get nervous and assume a combat position, aiming at the door they entered from. After a few more hits, some of the group hear stomping sounds coming from the tunnel. Elsa feels the stone rumble below her feet. Three umber hulks, large, hairy, bipedal beetles, lumber down the hallway toward the noise of Jack breaking down a stone door. A fourth bursts from the wall and lashes out at Elsa. Cator and Nyx focus long-ranged attacks on the hallway, while Cornelius, Palanfear, and Elsa beat down the one in the room. Jack cracks his mace into the stone once more.
I smell flesh to smash, but no door will beat me. I'm a barbarian.
Worm telepathically says to Jack.
What are you, some kind of asshole? Help your friends. Kill the door later.
Jack roars loudly and smashes his mace into the door again, then turns to assist his friends. The umber hulk, bloody and with guts hanging out of its carapace at several places, swivels its head to the new foe, only to get its brains smashed in by an overhead slam of Jack's mace.
Kill Stealer,
Shouts Elsa. The other umber hulks turn to flee and are shot down in an instant. Cater carefully removes two eyes from the bodiless head of one, while Jack finishes smashing the stone door into powder. They continue, healing as they walk, to a junction and choose to go east. After a few minutes, they find a closed portcullis and are about to turn back when Jack grins and begins lifting the heavy gate.
Hurry, can't hold forever.
The pilgrims crouch or roll under the gate and Jack lifts it over his head before letting it fall behind him. Only then do they realize this room is occupied. A humanoid with tentacles hanging from its face gazes at them with intent.
we're just passing through.
Says Elsa.
That's fine, as long as you leave me and my pets a little snack.
Says the Mind Flayer as five dog-like brains with claws step out of the shadows.
You can have him, but I don't think he'd be much of a snack if you're looking for brains.
Elsa says, pointing at Palanfear.
I'm infected in the brain, not good to eat. Look at my ear.
Shouts Palanfear.
No, wait, I'm asleep.
And he collapses to the ground, snoring audibly. Cornelius says,
He's not really asleep, you know.
I know, it was rather obvious.
The Mind Flayer looks to the left and right and sighs.
I'm not really supposed to do this, but you can pass.
Really?
Listen, my name's Dennis, and it's really my pets that want to eat you. I'll restrain them. Just leave quickly.
Said the Mind Flayer. Jack smashes through a wooden door to the next room and tries to smash through an iron door that bends and gets stuck in the doorframe. Cator repeatedly reminds the pilgrims that there is no closed door between them and the brain dogs. Nyx uses stone shape to make a tunnel around the bent door and reveals a mix of torture equipment and library shelves. Cornelius finds a book on a shelf that triggers a sliding door, revealing a glowing handprint and a second door. Jack and Elsa try putting their hands on the handprint but are met with a negative beep. Palanfear tries and the handprint glows green and the door slides open. Cator eyes him suspiciously before following the pilgrims through the door. A large cavern with a strangely white building and a chained dragon await them. The dragon, colored purple and exhaling red spores, sleeps behind the white building. The pilgrims see the spores floating up through volcanic tubes in the ceiling.
Who wants to investigate the white building?
Asks Cator. Nyx turns to Jack.
Do you remember investigating? That used to be your jam, Jack.
The demon's eyes flash, no longer with yellow iris and black sclera. His eyes return to human-like.
I don't have my bag of holding. Do we have a sack? I need a sack. I have to take samples of everything.
Jack begins in a mumble and ends in a shout, flailing his arms and stumbling slightly as he runs towards the building. Elsa and Cator smile broadly at each other and run after him. Inside, there are metal beds with sheets of pure white and a strange, clear, squeaky fabric hanging from rails surrounding the beds. Strange beeps and noises can be heard from further within, and the pilgrims split up to cover more ground. Nyx tries to climb over the outside wall as a polar bear, but the wall is not stone or wood. It crumbles like feathers and hair being held together with paper, and inside are strange red, white, black, and orange vines. When Nyx rips a vine from the wall, the snapped portion of it begins to spark. The bear tries to bite it and gets a shock. In one of the rooms, Nyx and Palanfear find 4 large glass tubes with people floating inside and cords hooked up to them. Palanfear disconnects the cords and loud beeping sounds ensue. Jack rushes in and smashes the glass on one of the tubes. A horned beast slides onto the floor in thick goo, breathing but heavily infected with red plague. Jack smashes another tube and a little girl falls to the floor. Cator tries to stop them, wondering if the tubes are like some sort of egg or womb that keeps them alive. He and Jack grapple, but the demon form is too strong, even with Jack's consciousness behind it. An elf-sized hole smashes through the wall to the next room, while Jack opens the remaining tubes, revealing an angel, and someone who looks exactly like human Jack. The human Jack is wearing suspenders, slacks, and a turtleneck sweater. Demon Jack rifles through his pockets to find a card with his picture on it, and some words in the strange language that fills the fragile white building. Elsa and Cornelius approach, holding a stack of paper written mostly in an undecipherable language, but with colored bits of paper stuck to it, written in the common tongue. From what little they can read, they find that whoever was working here had developed a cure to the Red Plague and identified the dragon as its source. They created 5 vials of cure and noted that 3 would be needed to cure the dragon. The papers also noted that the dragon's name is Zephron, and even if the cure was administered, there was a chance he would be completely insane from the brain damage.
Why only 5 vials?
Wondered the pilgrims as they discovered the cupboard where they were stored.
What was the purpose of the tubes? What made the dragon sick? How does curing the dragon cure the world above? Who made the cure? Why didn't they use it on the tube people? How many Jacks are there lurking around? Where did this fragile building come from?
The pilgrims had many unanswered questions, but no time to ponder and no one to ask. Palanfear chugged a vial of cure and vomited up chunks of red fungus that seemed to wither and die when it hit the floor. He felt his ear, it was whole, untainted, as was he. His mind was clear for the first time in days. With 4 vials remaining, the pilgrims tried to discuss who to save. Jack grabbed a vial and ran towards the dragon. Elsa followed with 2 more. Palanfear used the distraction to burn the child and the horned beast, and say a prayer over their bodies. Cator knelt by Tube Jack, placing a hand on his chest, feeling the breathing slow. Nix and Cornelius went to see what would happen with the dragon. With the vials poured in his mouth and Elsa standing behind his ear whispering his name.
Zephron, Zephron.
He awoke and spat out a chunk of red plague. He stretched and lifted himself, easily snapping the chains that bound him to the ground. He breathed deeply and exhaled.
Ah, thank you. I am forever in your debt.
Demon Jack hears the voice of the belt in his head. Drink the vial. He obeys without question, snapping the remaining vial from Cornelius. You win, Jack. I can't stay, but you can keep the belt. Put it on and keep it on for 48 hours. You will have all the power you could ever want. The voice fades from Jack's mind and the belt drops to the floor. In the blink of an eye, the tall, naked demon turns into a robed wizard wearing a backpack and carrying a satchel. Zephron allows Palanfear to ride on his head, and they patrol the area while the others continue investigating the strange building. Jack finds Cator in tears, holding Tube Jack's hand.
They're gone. They're all gone.
Mourns the ranger. Wizard Jack takes Tube Jack's possessions, including some newspaper clippings about a pumpkin patch and a notepad. Jack uses comprehend languages to read part of the notepad, and he sees
Level 7 restriction on using the portal.
Just as he announces that, Cornelius shouts from another room.
I found a portal machine.
Elsa and Cornelius activate the portal and discover this one leads to 5 different destinations. Cator and Jack use their wits to help determine the locations of the other sides of the portals. The southern coastline of the continent, as noted by the tides and the position of the sun. An island far away, as noted by constellations being in different positions, and it being nighttime. A desert of red sand in the daytime. The horrific floating temple in the void, with the torso of Temorglum visible standing behind the cathedral. The tower where they found the first portal. Nix went through the portal into the grass island and turned around, expecting to see the machinery of the portal, but he saw nothing. No portal, no pilgrims, no way home. But the pilgrims could still see him, and they reached out and grabbed his hand, pulling him back. They determine that they will need to travel to the true destination of the other portals, which will be nearby, not at where they saw, and then activate each of the portals. Once they are active, the pilgrims will be able to travel freely between them. This was reinforced by noting the portal from the tower was crystal clear, not shimmering or flickering like it used to. Cator dug graves and buried the angel and Tube Jack, while the others gathered samples of the strange fabrics, vines, fragile wall material, blinking lights, machines that beep, and anything else they could find. On the graves, Cator leaves the symbol of four corners. When he returns to the pilgrims, they are talking to Zephron. He has a daughter, a three-headed blue dragon who is wrecking boats on the west coast, near where the red dragon is rumored to be, and near where the pirates said that the dragon attacked only non-pirates. Zephron asks the pilgrims to
Go to her. Make her see reason. Convince my daughter to stop her destruction.
What's her name? How do we convince her you sent us?
Her name is Jane. You can tell her Papa Dragon wants his little pumpkin to stop. She always used to call me a Papa Dragon, and I always used to call her my little pumpkin.
Zephron takes the pilgrims up to the surface, where Dobby screams and squeals and drops dead in fear. Palanfear tries to convince Zephron to take him and Ramington on an adventure, but Zephron declines. Zephron casts an aura of truth and tries to convince Palanfear to make the right choice.
You have a destiny.
I'm a cleric. There are hundreds of us. Any can take my place.
There is no God.
Shouts Zephron, causing birds to take flight and trees to shake. Palanfear's decades of worshipping god after god, pantheon after pantheon, he worshipped them all, and they were all real. But this dragon is ancient. He has seen the world in its infancy. He is old and wise. He is telling the truth. There is no god, or there was no god.
You are my god.
Palanfear says without blinking. Tears well up and he smiles. Zephron grunts and looks displeased.